In this video, you'll learn why up to 80% of the olive oil in supermarkets is mass-produced counterfeit, and how to tell it apart. Why do most people not even know the real taste of olive oil and calmly eat a rancid substitute? How can quality oil actually be made from last year's fruit collected off the ground? Why the famous fridge test for olive oil authenticity is actually a myth? Why a burning sensation in the throat is a sign of genuine, high-quality extra virgin olive oil, and why the smaller the bottle, the better. At the end, we'll go through exactly how to choose the best oil, what to look for on labels, and what to pay attention to. Spoiler, price is far from a reliable indicator of quality. This will be a deep dive, and by the end, you'll know everything you need to know about quality olive oil. Let's begin. By the way, be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell so you don't miss any of my new videos. I used to buy regular olive oil like most people do. I tried to avoid the very cheapest options, those look suspicious, so I picked something mid-range that I liked the look of. But once, during a trip to Italy, I was treated to truly fresh olive oil, and I realized how wrong I had been about the taste. What I used to think of as olive oil ranged from bland to slightly rancid. The real taste is unforgettable, bright, a little peppery, a little grassy, and it always leaves a fresh aftertaste. After that, I started wondering, how big is the problem really? According to studies, up to 80% of the olive oil in our supermarkets is fake. The business is so profitable that the Italian mafia switched to it long ago. It's safer and easier, while the money is about the same. How does a typical olive oil scam work? It starts with buying cheap vegetable oil, sunflower, or soybean. On Europe's wholesale market, it's about €1 per liter. Perfect for the mob, cheap and available in huge volumes. Next comes imitation. To make the fake look like real extra virgin olive oil, they tint it with chlorophyll. Sometimes they add flavorings to mimic taste. That's how the final product becomes visually indistinguishable from quality oil. And to tell the difference, you need the genuine product right next to it to taste them side by side. The next stage is packaging. In closed warehouses, they have bottling lines and label printers. Bottles are adorned with extra virgin olive oil, logos, and European quality seals. And of course, an Italian flag to underscore authenticity. Then comes logistics. Tankers or containers of this oil are shipped into major U.S. ports and then sent by trucks across state lines nationwide, often accompanied by forged certificates of origin, which make policies work harder. And then comes justice. After months of surveillance, the police arrest dozens of people and seize hundreds of thousands of gallons of fake oil. The math is simple. They buy cheap vegetable oil at about $3.80 per gallon and sell it for up to $38 per gallon. At peak, a single operation produced up to about 5,300 gallons per week, up to $10 million a year in revenue. Now you see how lucrative and tempting this business is. It's no surprise there's so much fake oil. Shut down one site and another one pops up. That's how it shouldn't be done. Now let's talk about how real oil is made. The world produces about 3.3 million tons of olive oil per year. Spain is the global leader, about 45% of total production. In Italy, the Apulia region accounts for 40% of Italian output and 12% of the world's. Quality extra virgin production follows strict technology and precise science. First, harvest. Olives must be processed within 24 hours of picking. Otherwise, fermentation begins and quality drops. Then crushing. Fruit is milled together with pits. Granite millstones or modern steel crushers turn the crop into a thick paste. Next is malaxation, mixing, about 30 minutes. This is when aromatic compounds form and polyphenols are expressed. But if you drag out the process, after about an hour, the oil begins to oxidize and lose its beneficial properties. Temperature is the main enemy of quality. Keep it at or below 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Every extra degree destroys antioxidants and reduces value. Then extraction. In the past, hydraulic presses and fiber discs. Nowadays, centrifuges are common. Yes, just like in nuclear facilities. Centrifuges work more efficiently and minimize contact with oxygen, preserving taste, aroma, and benefits. Next, separation. Get a mix of oil and water. Yellow oil rises, dark vegetation water sinks. Then additional filtration removes microparticles that could spoil flavor. After that comes storage. Real quality oil is kept only in steel tanks at a stable temperature, away from light and air. And the sooner it reaches the store shelf, the better for the consumer. Now compare this complex process with making counterfeits. Which seems easier and more profitable? The answer is obvious, but crude, blatant fakes are only half the problem. Perfectly legal producers, who won't get arrested, also have tricks to cut costs, simplify the process, and avoid jail. What do? First, dilution with cheap oils. You can blend olive oil with corn, peanut, canola, soybean oil, etc. Another way is using low-quality raw materials. That includes pomace oil, extracted from olive pomace using solvents and then refined. It's not extra virgin, but it can be passed off as such. There's more. As I said, quality oil uses only fresh olives, processed within 24 hours. But you can always use old stock. During harvest, many olives fall to the ground and lie there, under rain, in heat, in dirt. They can also be collected and processed. There's a problem though. Those ground olives taste very bitter. What to do? Refine them. Refining and processing removes the bitterness, along with most of the antioxidants and polyphenols. At this point, some people propose a very simple way to spot fakes. The fridge test. Myth? The famous fridge test. There are countless videos online where people put 2 bottles of oil in the refrigerator. A day later they check. Look, this one solidified and that one didn't. The liquid oil must be fake, because real olive oil should solidify. I used to believe this showed something. But after looking into it more deeply, I realized it's a myth. Yes, oleic acid, present in olive oil, can cause oil to solidify at low temperature. But olive oil isn't only oleic acid, and the amount of oleic acid naturally varies by variety. So a perfectly good extra virgin olive oil may not solidify in the fridge. Meanwhile, a counterfeit can solidify. For example, if palm oil was added. So the fridge test isn't reliable. What tests are? Essentially, you need a laboratory test with proper equipment, to be sure. Only in a lab can you assess polyphenol content, which is characteristic of olive oil, and measure free acidity, which should be under 0.8%. Still, there are criteria that help you choose better oil, and we'll cover them at the end. First, though, it's important to understand how olive oil affects our bodies, and why genuine olive oil matters for health. Effects on the body. For a long time, fats, especially saturated fats, were considered dangerous. Olive oil contains up to about 12% saturated fat, and wasn't studied closely at first. But people noticed that in Mediterranean countries, Greece, Italy, Spain, those who consume a lot of olive oil have much lower rates of cardiovascular disease. That raised interest. Maybe olive oil has protective components. Large studies followed. Over 30 major cohort studies and hundreds of smaller ones, showing that people who regularly consume olive oil have lower risks of heart attacks, strokes, cancer, and cognitive decline, dementia. But there was a catch. These were observational studies showing correlation, not causation. In 2018, however, a high-quality study demonstrated causality. In Spain, 7,000 participants were followed for 6 years. One group ate a standard Mediterranean diet. Another, the same diet plus nuts. A third, the same diet plus 4 tablespoons of olive oil per day. The results? Sharp reductions in cardiovascular risks, strokes, and breast cancer in the olive oil group, as well as lower dementia risk. After that, we can confidently say that quality, genuine olive oil is very beneficial for our bodies. Why? Largely thanks to polyphenols. Extra virgin olive oil contains about 36 polyphenols. By comparison, coconut oil has only about 6. The best known polyphenol is oleocanthal. It's what causes that slight tickle or burn in your throat when you taste olive oil, which brings us to the most important point. How to choose good olive oil. First, there are 4 categories. Number 1, extra virgin olive oil. Excellent taste and aroma, and low free fatty acidity, under 0.8%. This is the highest quality, tastiest, and most beneficial product. Number 2, virgin olive oil. Good flavor, but with small quality defects. Free acidity up to 2%. Number 3, refined olive oil. Made from lower quality raw material. Virtually no taste, aroma, or polyphenols. Number 4. Olive oil. Refined olive oil mixed with a little virgin oil for some flavor. This is the most common and affordable option on supermarket shelves. Which should you choose? For maximum benefit and flavor, pick extra virgin olive oil. Next, look for a harvest date, not just a best before date. Shelf life matters, but reputable producers list the harvest date as well. The fresher the better. Oils may also carry certification logos. In Europe, look for PDO, Protected Designation of Origin, or PGI, Protected Geographical Indication. In the US, 2 practical marks help. The California Olive Oil Council, COOC, seal, which certifies a 100% California oil that has passed chemical and sensory tests, and the NAOOA Certified Quality Seal, where bottles are randomly pulled from US store shelves and tested in IOC-recognized labs to confirm purity and extra virgin grade is sold. Quick note, USDA organic refers to farming practices rather than grade or freshness, so use it alongside COOC/NAOOA and your own taste. It's best not to buy oil at big supermarkets, where counterfeits are most common. The optimal choice is specialty shops, where you can taste before buying. Bottle size matters too. Buy smaller bottles, 8.5 to 16.9 fluid ounces, so you refresh your supply more often, rather than a 33.8 fluid ounce bottle that sits for months. Olive oil oxidizes quickly. The longer it sits open, the less benefits and the worse the flavor. The bottle should be dark, not clear. Sunlight damages olive oil. A key quality marker is flavor. Notes of grass, artichoke, or green almond are good. A slight throat tickle is also a good sign. Bitterness is trickier. Pleasant bitterness is fine in good oils, but if bitterness overwhelms everything, it's likely oxidized, low-quality oil, stored improperly. Next, price. If it's the cheapest oil on the shelf, that's a red flag. Don't buy it. On the other hand, the most expensive isn't necessarily the best. Price can vary. Just avoid the very cheapest. Store oil in a cool, dark place with the cap tightly closed. A handy hack, vacuum stoppers, rubber stoppers with a small hand pump. Put one on the bottle and pump out the air. Less oxygen means less oxidation, and your oil can last at least twice as long. It's best to use the oil within a few months after opening, no longer. By the way, do you like olive oil? Do you use it often, in foods and salads, or even by the spoonful? Share your experience in the comments. I'd love to hear it. And if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.